And we're live. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Luke.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me. It's been a lot of fun, a lot of really good discussions this weekend. Super excited to have a discussion with you. You are one of these guys who knows a lot about movies and sports and entrepreneurship, and you've been talking more that I've seen about mental health and some other really important topics. So really excited to have you on. Let's start with a little bit about your company, Ticket Time Machine, what you guys are up to, and what it's all about.
Yeah, so Ticket Time Machine, we're an entertainment company and we specialize in commemorative products. With everything going digital, we believe that the printed memory should still be alive. And so we're working to get licensing and partnerships to offer that. I have some examples here
Yeah.
of our tickets. So we got the rotating tickets.
Yeah.
You could QR code and push digital content. You can customize and personalize it. This was something we did for our wedding. So you can put video on the ticket. And then we have your traditional, Ticketmaster thermal ticket.
Yeah.
So we're working. We've had some good partners so far. We're having some great conversations. We're looking forward to when things get back in person. But there's still a lot of opportunity in the live stream world and for hybrid events and the digital events. So we're pretty excited about where we're going. And we're also about to launch a virtual platform for events. Some more news on that, hopefully either later this month or early next year. So a lot going on, but it's all exciting stuff.
Love it. Love it. How did you get started with this business and maybe even go back into your entrepreneurial journey, how it all started?
Yeah, so I was working at a company called Worldwide Ticket Craft. They got bought out by Weldon Williams and Lick after I left, but it's a ticket printing company. So they were printing the tickets that you guys were using, and never even thought that was a thing. You just assumed that Ticketmaster was doing it, but Ticketmaster is actually a software company, not a ticket company, which most people don't understand. So
Okay.
I was there for a while, and then I left. I went to LexisNexis, where I went to a small company, got bought out a year later by LexisNexis. I was selling anti-money laundering solutions, and I was at a Marlins game, and Edinson Volquez throws a no-hitter. I have a digital ticket. I didn't even think about it, actually, but over the loudspeaker, they said, if you want a printed ticket, come to the box office. So I was like, this is great. I get online. Not a huge line, but there was enough people there. And I get up to the front. I said, this is great. Can you put Edinson Volquez no-hitter on there? And they were like, no, we can't. And I know that they can. So that's how the idea was born. And I go to a lot of concerts, too, at Live Nation, Amphitheater Outdoors, and they went digital. And I always ask for a printed ticket. They used to give it to you. Then they charge $5, and then they started to charge $20.
Yeah.
Which tells me they don't want you to do it. They're not charging $20 because they think that's fair. They're doing it so you don't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's how the idea was born. I started getting things together. I was working full time at LexisNexis, and then left at the end of last year. I decided I'll be going on my own in April, and April 1 was my last day, and it's been a roller coaster since.
How much overlap did you have from LexisNexis to Ticket Time Machine? Did you side gig for a while, or did you burn the boats and go all in, or what was that?
I started about 2 years ago.
Okay.
I started Ticket Time Machine a little more than 2 years ago. So, and I was full time at LexisNexis until April. So I was doing nights and weekends. It was a lot of just behind the scenes stuff, getting it ready, incorporating, getting your website, putting a plan together, starting some conversations, because when I was on LinkedIn, I couldn't change my profile over until I left. So April 1, I changed everything. And I had about 600 connections, and about 500 of them were in that world.
Yeah.
Now I'm close to 4,000,
right.
And they're almost all in, sports and entertainment and ticketing. And so, it was tough. I realized to myself, I have to go all in. I have to be able to just concentrate on this. And I probably could have done a little bit more. You get a paycheck and you do a little bit more, but I don't think I'd be where I am today if I did that. And so if I have to do it again, I certainly would do it. It's been really good, because right now it's, with everything shut down, I'm having conversations that I probably wouldn't be able to get if the world was operating as it was.
It's phenomenal. How did you validate the idea in the market? I mean, sounds good. I mean, we've all gone through this as entrepreneurs. Good idea in your head. How did you go about validating in the market, and what was your process for
I
that?
just knew. I mean, I'm a collector. I collect a lot of things. I go to a ton of events, and there's stuff online that you could see. People buy and sell and trade tickets. I just know that enough people want this,
Yeah.
and we're not saying, hey, you should give this away. You need to print this and keep spending the money and print and give it away. We just say, what we're just saying is, you need to give the fans an opportunity if they want it to buy it, and enough people will. And
Yeah.
we figure out a way where it's really no risk to you. You know, the sponsors, people will want to pay for it because,
Yeah.
again, we can bridge the digital and the physical world. So enough people will want it. What that number is, you know, we have surveys from the NBA that show almost 50% of people collect in some sort of fashion.
Wow.
18%, you know, often as they can.
Yeah.
That 18% number, I think that might even be high, but even if it's 18%, that's a big number. If you start talking about all the NBA games,
Yeah.
you start talking about, you know, football games with 90,000 people in it. And that's just one game. And then there's all, you know, we're looking at doing ticketing for every game that's ever happened, every concert that's ever happened, anything really that's ever happened before. So when you start looking at that, you know, it's just the numbers are there. You know, people want it, and there's very little risk to actually doing it.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this day and age when everyone's looking for new revenue streams, this seems like a no-brainer. But you know how it is, a lot of no-brainers, you know.
So if I want to get a collectible ticket from my first concert back in the 90s.
Yeah, ideally we'll be able to do it. Like today, I can print your stuff on my generic stock.
Yeah.
I can legally sell it to you, and so that's the problem. I need licensing, I need partnerships, and it's, you know, it's been a little bit of a struggle to get that. It's like I always used to think everyone wants to be the first person to do something, and now people are afraid to be that first person in some respects. So, but ideally, we'll be able to do that. And you know, there's some people doing it right now. It's illegal. I'm not looking to do that.
Yeah.
I could do it, you know, and I think I could make a ton of money in the short term, but that's not really what we're looking to do. But yeah, essentially, we could print any event that's ever happened, and people don't necessarily know what's going to be a memorable thing for them until later. So, you know, it could be 3 years down the road. It could be at the end of the season. And then we say, hey, wow, you know what? That was a memorable game. I mean, I have my Tim Tebow promise ticket. They lost that game. It's like a horse race. You would be like, who wants to keep that ticket? It's a terrible memory until he makes that speech that night and they win the rest of the games and go on and win the national championship. So, you know, you just never know what's going to be a memory. And we're gonna offer it. We're gonna keep that printed memory alive.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What's your progress been through the stages? Are you bootstrapping? Or are you going to go out for funding? What's your strategy on scaling?
No, we're gonna keep growing organically.
Yeah.
I have 100% of the company.
Yep.
I don't have any plans to give up any of it. I don't think that I need to.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone could use money. What would I do with money? I mean, I'd hire some people, but I'm not sure it's worth it. I believe that if I keep doing what I'm doing, that I'll get where I need to be, and then there'll be, you know, the money coming in. I'd rather have people spend that money and invest in ticketing for the fans.
Yeah.
Let's invest and sell, and you know, even if you're taking a chance. I'm always going to bet on myself. I always have, I always will, and I'll take that chance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. I love that. So I've been an entrepreneur for my entire life. And one thing that is apparent to me talking to other entrepreneurs is that it can be really lonely and really exhausting and difficult a lot of times. And one thing we don't talk a lot about as entrepreneurs is that loneliness and the mental health that goes with it. I'd love to hear your perspective on that and how you would encourage entrepreneurs who are feeling down, or because they didn't achieve a thing, or because they're feeling lonely, or they just need some help. Like what would you recommend, or what would you do to encourage them?
Yeah. So look, everyone needs to work on their mental health. Whether you're a salesperson or you're any type of work. More, I guess, salesperson too, because a lot of times, your compensation is going to be dependent on how well you sell.
Yeah.
So I don't feel lonely. I'm talking to people all day long, and
yeah,
I throw some stuff to my friends and my family to talk about stuff. So I don't feel lonely in that aspect. I think the work from home, people are missing the daily interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, you always have to have a work-life balance. That's true whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're just working, whether you're working at the office, whether you're working at home. And so I think that's a big problem with people, is that they don't have that work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
And that builds up. And whether it's resentment or anger or sadness, whatever that is, anything just festering there and building up is potential to really cause problems.
Yeah.
I've always had a work-life balance. I've actually lost job offers because I asked for extra days of vacation, even if I said I'd take them unpaid.
Yeah.
And, a lot of this stuff I find is a blessing, because if I would have worked for any of those companies, I would have been miserable.
Yeah.
It ended up, I was about 2.5 years without a full-time job. I did some odds and ends, and I'm always good about getting the money I need to and saving the money when I have it. But if I would have gotten that job instead of waiting, and it would have been disastrous. I don't know where I'd be today.
Yeah.
So, I always have the faith that it's going to work out. Get yourself the help you need. If you need to take a 3-month break from life, take it.
Mm-hmm.
We're young. We're young enough. There's earning potential. There's always going to be a job for you somewhere. There's people who will help. There's ways to get help. And so that's what I think it is. But for an entrepreneur, you have to, in order to even do it, you have to understand that it's going to be a lot of low times. And that could be financial. That could be just struggling, no's. Now, I've been in sales, right? So when you're in sales and you get a lot of no's, it's not a hard transition to the entrepreneurship side of it.
Yeah.
I don't mind no's. I hate silence.
Yeah. How would you recommend that people take inventory of the reality of their work-life balance? I mean, it might feel like I've got a work-life balance, or that I might not have balance. How does somebody take inventory to know that they have achieved the balance?
So part of it is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean you're like, my grandma used to get mad at me when I took my vacation. That's part of my compensation package. Like, look, people give a lot of time off because it's an easy way to bump up your compensation package, but that's a big part of it. If I have 30 days off and you start calculating that, and they're not going to pay me for it, and they're not going to let me roll it over, I'm going to use every second.
Mm-hmm.
When I was at LexisNexis, they actually let us buy 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Every year I bought 5 days at the beginning of the year, because when you spread that money over 52 paychecks, not 52, whatever it was, I forget how we got paid. But when you spread it over, I think it was twice a week, so it was 24. It's nothing. You don't even think about it, especially when you're in sales.
Right.
I never tell you what my check was going to be. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get close to trying to guess it. So, it's in your personality. You have to. It's hard to change that, right? It doesn't mean you're lazy if you take time off.
Yeah.
It just means you understand what you need to be happy, for one. Like, there's no point in working your whole life, gaining all this money and accolades, and everyone says, "Oh, well, they showed up every day and they worked 12." But if you can't enjoy it, I'm one of those people. Life is short. Life can be short.
Yeah.
Let's say it's not. Let's say I live till I'm 90. I mean, I'd rather have the time when I'm doing everything between 30 and 60 or 70 than 70 and 90. Because even if I'm doing everything I want to do, it's not in the same. I can't. Even if I go take a trip around Europe, I can't experience the same things when I'm 70 than I can when I am now.
Right.
So, that's, to me, it's important. And I think it's up to the employer too. And that's one thing that I'll be very cognizant about as I have employees. It's up to the employer to make sure that your mental health is good. And that's why we're putting this Same Here CEO together, it all starts at the top. So if you
Mm-hmm.
see the actions and the freedom to express what's going on and have it be a safe environment for the time off, like give people an extra day off. Say, look, we're just going to stop. Life is going to go on. The business will run. Everything's going to be fine. There's very little business that can't allow you to be off for whatever it is. And if the business can't go on with you being off, then that's a problem, right? Because what if I just decide I want to quit tomorrow?
Right.
I'd be able to have a team that's doing it. So I think I think the leadership, the management have to take some stock into what's going on. How are their people doing? Can you see? Because a lot of times you can tell when someone's working too hard and they could use, they can use a mental health day.
Yeah. In a lot of corporate cultures, you've got this work hard, play hard cliche that a lot of people have, but they also a lot of times will celebrate responsiveness and being attached and like grinding out and working all these extra hours. How can employers and also employees make sure they optimize the time that they're away to disconnect and to really achieve that balance by being away from all of that stuff?
So now as an entrepreneur and I own my own business, I'm 24/7, 366, but I do make sure that I put the phone down and I do walk away. When I was working for people, I was all in when I was at work and I was all out when I was out of work.
Yeah.
So I left the office. That was pretty much it. But I'm a customer guy. So, there were those times when especially when I had access to a phone, back in the day, I didn't have access to anything. I didn't even have a computer at home.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was when the bell rang, I was done until Monday or even until the next day. So, it's, I don't know. It's up to them. Once you're on, I guess if you see someone not doing it but when you're on your own, you got to trust the people that they're going to keep themselves healthy, whether that's mentally, physically, getting enough sleep, not abusing drugs and alcohol, whatever it is. You have to trust that people are going to do, and then just be alert if you see something. It's just interesting. I was talking to my old boss, he was saying when people are at home, I said, well, are they more productive? And he said, well, the people who are productive in the office are the people who are productive at home, and the people who weren't productive in the office weren't productive at home. So it's just about, to me, everyone wants you to be in your seat at 5 o'clock.
Right.
But there's no point to it. If I'm not doing anything, why sit there? Let me go early. If I get my work done, who cares how I get it done? If I get it done on the beaches of Hawaii, or sitting in an office, or if I'm literally in the pool, working, if that's a thing, which I'll test it out, but I'm sure someone's doing it somewhere.
Sure. What's the best concert you've ever been to?
I posted the other day. It was Green Day, and I was with my friend, and we got floor seats for $60, and we got there early, so we were like 15 feet from Billy Joe. Yeah. Green Day is one of my favorite bands anyway. I'm not a huge indoor concert fan, but the energy in that building was incredible. Yeah. And so we drank, we tailgated because we always tailgate before, and we got some beers there. And my friend is notorious for not going to the bathroom. And, we didn't want to move. We figured we move, we're not getting the spot back. So he had like this 32-ounce beer, and he relieved himself standing. That's his move, and we've done it on the lawn, and just like somehow he has the ability to do it with nobody noticing what was going on. Yeah, and it was great. I love Green Day. Their new album came out. It's just an easy answer for me when someone asks that question, and a lot of times that's tough, but there's some close ones. I saw Michael Fronte in a really small environment on Halloween. And that it's all about the vibe too sometimes. And then the other one that sticks out for me was at the Final Four in Dallas. It was actually a terrible weekend because we lost the game we never should have lost. They had a free show outdoors, and it was kind of drizzling. And Fun opened up, and then Bruce Springsteen played after. And that was my first time seeing Bruce live, and which is crazy since I'm from New Jersey. And his show was unbelievable. I mean, it was just great. And so that made a terrible weekend sting a little bit less. So, music is a huge part of my life. Concerts and festivals and just listening to it in the car and when I exercise. It's always a huge part of my life. So
who's on the list for you that you haven't seen that you need to see?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wanted to see Neil Diamond and Paul Simon, and every time they've been around, it hasn't happened. Very few. I mean, I think it's some more of the new up and comers. I'd love to see, Dua Lipa. I think she's doing some great things.
Yeah.
I've never seen Gaga. I'd love to see Gaga. I never saw. I saw Pink. I never saw Katy Perry. But yeah, it's tough. I didn't see the Rolling Stones. This is crazy. I had a free ticket to see Beck.
Oh wow!
Stuff going on. And the tickets were really expensive, but my friends do a good job of getting in. And I should have just canceled my plans to go there. It was closer and went to see the Stones, and I didn't. And that's probably one of my biggest concert regrets. Beck was very disappointing for some reason live, even though he's great.
Super talented, yeah.
Stones. I'd love to see the Stones if they come around again. That's not a lot. I've seen so many concerts. I've been very lucky to be able to live in areas where these people show up. Well, that's the first thing.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate you stopping by today. I wanted to make sure I gave you some time to talk about lessons learned, things that are on your mind, whatever else you've got that you'd like to share. So floor is yours.
Yeah. So, someone posted the other day about what would you recommend to people who are 30, and I think you go younger. Today, it's incredible what I'm seeing from the young people at 20, 21, just out of college, and then people in college. I had interns. They were sophomores. I didn't even think about doing an internship when I was a sophomore. So they have webinars and podcasts. I mean, they were way ahead of the game. And so without doing any of that stuff, I was behind the game. And now, so you have to even do more and more stuff to be ahead of the game in such a competitive environment. And it's only going to get even more competitive with everything that went on with COVID and all the unemployment that's going on now. So just really start to think about your plan and go with it. Like I had so many things I wanted to do and I just didn't do it because I hit that first roadblock and I was like, I'm a little lazy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little lazy. And so I hit that first roadblock and I was like, forget this.
Yeah.
But once you get past that first roadblock, it becomes it's not easy. I say it's not easy, but it becomes smooth sailing in the sense that you have the ability and the mindset that I can get through whatever else is coming.
Yeah.
So just keep doing it and don't be afraid to take chances, take the risks. Everyone has to take risks.
Right.
It might fail. Go on to the next one, and do what makes you happy. That's also. I spent a lot of time in jobs that didn't make me happy, and that's a lot of time in my life that you're spending that you can't get back. And I don't do that anymore, and that's why I left. I wasn't unhappy where I was, but I probably stayed longer than I should have because I wasn't as happy as I was at the beginning. And I had the way I was without getting internships and without taking it too seriously and combined with being in South Florida, I got a real late start. I was 10 years in before I even had a job I wanted to tell people about.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's a long time. That's a lot of money you can make. You're missing out a lot of time. So just do what makes you happy. Make that. Don't stay where you're not. And I would say that's how you should live, whether it's your job, your relationship, your location, any of that stuff. Life is just too short to not be happy.
Yeah.
And that's a large part of your life. And you start thinking about it. Hey, I'm in work for 40 hours. Well, how many other hours are we awake the week? Forget about the weekend.
Right.
Do. So that's probably what I would say. And just enjoy life. And there's enough time. That's the other thing. There's always enough time for everything. I don't care who you are. And I think, we don't need to get political, but Trump proved that you can have the most important job in the world. Still have time to go play golf.
Right.
What
Right.
makes you happy?
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear that someone doesn't. If you don't have enough time, then two things are happening. One, you're not working smart enough, or you're not doing the job right. Or two, someone is giving you way too much responsibility. Right? You're probably doing the job of 1.5 people or two people, and that's a conversation that you need to have. So that's what I would advise. And yeah, that's. I don't know. I've made a lot of mistakes. I don't have a lot of regrets, but I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of things I didn't do that I should have, and I should have done that I didn't.
Yeah.
And, but that's life. The key to it is just to make those mistakes and then learn from them, and don't keep making those mistakes.
Right.
And I've had a lot of things, these mistakes that I've had that I really truly believe I've learned from. So I'm not making these mistakes, and I expect a lot from people, but it's nothing that I won't give back in return.
Yeah.
And the thing that really bothers me these days is the ghosting. I know there's a lot of talk about that.
Yeah.
I answer every single email I get.
Wow.
Every message I get. I operate with a clean inbox, because it's a priority to me. And I get back to people very, very fast. I think that's the key to half of the stuff. I don't care if you have the answer or not. If I get back to you fast, I mean, there's people who probably on the other end, they send an email and I get back to them within a minute and they're like, whoa, what the heck just happened to you? Because if I get back to you fast, now there's an expectation that you're on the clock. It's almost like you're on the clock. I told this to someone the other day, like, you took 3 days to reply to their email. Now you've given them permission to take 3 days to reply to yours.
Yeah.
So, in sales and in everything, attention to detail, being responsive, being authentic, right? And that's half the game, I think. If you do that, I think you'll be successful in almost whatever you do.
Yeah. Ton of value. Thank you so much. I appreciate you stopping by. Matt, Ticket Time Machine. Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.